The Steve Dangle Podcast with your hosts, Steve Dangle, Adam Wilde, and Jesse Blake.
All right, you probably don't know what's going on. Jesse doesn't have the button.
Yeah,
That
so
plays the
in
intro,
studio,
so we're just sitting here in silence.
if you wonder if like we can hear like the press conference music and our intro and extra, all of that happens live on the show. Like our show is recorded mostly live to tape. Some of it's obviously edited, but sometimes I don't have the button on the mixer here. I have other buttons, but I don't have our main button. So for the intro, we sit in silence for where it would have played, and then we insert it after.
You should have played that intro without the music, where it's just us in silence, and then you go, okay, that's enough.
It just doesn't work on audio.
Right.
Where people will be listening and they won't hear anything, and then we get a bunch of messages about what's wrong with today's podcast.
No, I want people freaking out.
Yeah.
I want that.
Ladies and gentlemen,
everyone.
here's how I would have started if we'd had the button. Now, we went like a solid decade without the button. So we've just fallen out of practice not having the button. But if I were starting this the way we used to, the way that we used to do it, which is just fire it up, let's press record and go, I would start it with this. Who's got the best save percentage in the NHL this morning?
The Leafs, if you take out all the Samsonov.
No, the goalie.
Sorry, Martin somehow Jones.
Martin Mother effing Jones. Now, if you look it up on NHL.com rightly filters it out to 13 games. Martin's played 12. So he plays one more game and he plays well.
13 is so...
Well, because I think at a certain point it's like
random?
a minimum of 15 games. Like once you know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah, because you get like if you play one game and you get a shutout, you don't lead the league in save percentage.
Yeah.
So that's what it's a percentage of games played. But Martin Jones, like we all expected, is 8-3-0 with a 198 goals against average and a 934 save percentage and 2 shutouts. He had 3 last year in quadruple the games.
I was gonna say his because he almost had one the other night. I think it was against the Sharks on Saturday. If he had gotten that shutout, he would have tied Felix Potvin.
In total shutouts?
All time. Yeah. He would have had, it would have been 32. Oh. He's already in the top like 75. All time.
That's amazing. Good for him.
Man.
And you listen, we all were like, I sure hope he doesn't see ice this summer. But Martin Jones is my favorite person.
Well, okay.
Martin Jones I want to kiss him right on the mouth.
I'm sure
I'd ask him first though.
We're gonna, well, yes, of course.
Yeah.
But I'm sure he would also initiate.
I hope so.
I'm sure we'll get to the Samsonov conversation in a bit. But have you seen Jones's AHL numbers?
They're not good.
They suck.
They're not good.
He played 5 games. I know it's not a big sample, but like he did not stop a high percentage of pucks.
Right.
And here he is in the NHL. The team so clearly loves playing in front of him too.
Yeah.
And how many he has to make, like, I don't know, 2 good saves a game. That, like 2 saves where if it went in, you'd be like, shame on the D. Nope.
That's why Ilya Samsonov was so upsetting. We're asking you to do so little, sir.
I know.
Know where your net is and make a couple saves every game.
It was a frustrating conversation because it's like, well, there was a mistake on this play. There is always a mistake.
Yeah, and nobody's going to play a perfect hockey game every hockey game. So you need to fix it. But one thing I'm really upset at the NHL for is they have taken away Martin Jones's trophy. He had a right this season to win an award. And from 1999 till 2007, the Roger Crozier Saving Grace Award was an award the NHL handed out for the goaltender who had the best save percentage that season. That's 8 seasons. They handed out a save percentage award.
And they should. Why did they get rid of it?
Some of the great winners are Ed Belfour,
Great
Marty
goalie.
Turco, Jose Theodore, Marty Turco again, Dwayne Rollison. Oh, there's a lockout. And then Cristobal Huet and Nicholas Backstrom.
Nicholas Backstrom, Minnesota Wild goalie Nicholas Backstrom.
Yes.
Wow.
Nicholas Backstrom. So
no one remembers him. He was so good.
Only 25 games are required to qualify for this award. when it existed.
Yeah, which makes sense.
And Martin Jones could easily hit that 25-game mark. Depending on how this season goes. And he could have been the Roger Crozier Saving Grace Award winner from this season.
Dude, I don't get it. Like, he's had some soft targets, but like he also shut out the Kings. Yeah. Like, it's preposterous.
There are not enough awards for goalies.
Do we bring this back?
No, absolutely, we bring this back. But you know what this award suffers from, Jesse? The reason they got rid of it is not because it's not a relevant award, because it's absolutely a relevant award. The reason they got rid of this award is because of bad branding.
You don't like MasterCard? Being the
officially billed as the MBNA MasterCard Roger Crozier Saving Grace Award. Okay, so that really rolls off the tongue. How do you make that into an acronym? You know, the MBNA MCRC SGA Award. Man, it's my favorite award.
Well, they gave it two names. Like, is it the Roger Crozier Award or the Saving Grace Award?
No,
it's the Roger Crozier.
It's the MasterCard MBNA.
Yeah, it's the MasterCard.
Which, you know, MBNA, you take it at festivals, it feels good. I think the thing with this is that if they had a Terry Sawchuk Award, which they absolutely should, the guy had 100 and whatever shutouts. 103?
Yes.
Only recently passed, like, in the last decade by Brodeur, which was a record they actually thought, they're like, especially in the 80s, they're like, there's no way anyone's ever going to pass this.
Well, no one was even sort of close.
No. Which is, and then the 90s and the dead puck era and whatever. Like, that is where no offense to Roger Crozier, but like, you need to find a goalie who was like a crazy outstanding, like, call it the Patrick Waugh Award, the Jacques Plante Award.
Well, do we make it the Marty Turco Award because he won this award twice?
No disrespect to Marty Turco, but we do not. We need
Jesse, I know you're kidding,
we need a top 5 goaltender to name this after. My vote's always been for Terry Sawchuk because I'm partial to him. I love Terry Sawchuk. And I think he was the best goalie of the 50s and 60s. But you got to pick somebody whose career's already done. And the reason they can get rid of that award, like if it was named the Gordie Howe Award, you can't get rid of it. Because it's Gordie Howe. That's disrespectful to Gordie Howe. Roger Crozier, I'm sure, was great. I can't pull his stats off the. Who did Roger Crozier play for?
Pull it up. Go to Hockey
Who
DB.
Roger Crozier play for?
Go to Hockey DB. You're about it.
I'm sure he was great.
I by his name, I think he was a football coach.
No, he was a.
Sounds like a football coach.
I'm sure there's a story here. But he was a Red Wing for most of the 60s and a Sabre for most of the 70s and ended his career with 3 games with the 76-77 absolutely god-awful Washington Capitals.
I'm going to tell you something. He probably didn't deserve this award.
Now, do we know? Hold on.
Look at his save percentage.
No.
Okay, something else happened. Something else happened.
I just keep waiting for one of you to say something awful happened, and I'm afraid.
Well, I think that's what
happened to this person. I don't want to talk about his save percentage. That he's from Bracebridge, Ontario.
I'm strictly looking at the save percentage of the guy who has the save percentage award named after him.
He's the first player to win the Conn Smythe Trophy without having won the Stanley Cup.
Oh, okay.
Which is great. He did that in 1966 in the Stanley Cup Finals against the Montreal Canadiens when he was playing for the Detroit Red Wings. He was the guy that actually replaced Terry Sawchuk in Detroit after Terry Sawchuk went to the cool team, the Toronto Maple Leafs. And then I guess he had an injury to his pancreas, which is super serious. He was subsequently Crozier became the general manager of the Capitals. He was the VP of MBNA Credit Card Company, but then he died in 1996, unfortunately, of cancer. But then
upon his death
in 2000, they renamed it the Roger Crozier Trophy in his honor.
Made up this trophy.
So, with no disrespect to Roger Crozier, I think you name a goaltending award, and there needs to be more of them. You name them after the top 5 goalies of all time.
Here's the most disrespectful thing you can do: take it away.
They handed this out 7 times in honor of Mr. Crozier and his passing, and then they took it away.
And they're like, fuck that. That's a bad idea.
Honestly, bring it back. Put his name back on it.
Save percentage
I'm on the other. I'm completely on the other side. Put his name back on.
He's back, everyone.
Like, don't call it the Marty Brodeur Trophy or the Hasek Trophy. Or put Crozier back on this trophy.
Yeah.
If you did it to honor his life, what the hell's happening?
I don't know.
I am watching Adam dig a hole.
Oh, no.
And I am watching
This
Jesse
award was
fill
paid
it.
for by MBNA, where he was a vice president, and then MasterCard clearly bought them.
Maddie, how's this segment? Is this good?
This is great.
He was also
This is good.
interim
This is good
GM of the Caps.
The Caps for a short time.
All right.
Guys, what are we doing here?
That's
There's got to
a
be
great
more than
question.
just the vet. Like Vezina, George Vezina was a great goaltender
Now you cannot change the name of the Vezina.
because he was a great goalie.
No, because his name is too fun to say.
Vezina?
It's too fun.
a great name.
Crozier.
It's got a V in
Crozier's
the
a good
Z.
name. I like Crozier. You like
Is
the
it the saving grace part?
Yeah, what's the saving grace part?
Why don't you like the credit card part?
Yeah, why don't you like
I
MBNA
love the credit
MasterCard?
card. Listen, I love the credit card part. I'm all for the credit card part. You can
No,
love
well,
the awards.
MasterCard. We love MasterCard.
Yeah, we love
yeah, we do love
MasterCard.
MasterCard, yeah.
Yeah.
We got to bring it back. The Roger Crozier Saving Grace Award presented by Prime Energy Drink.
Yeah, what else
Monty
can we do?
Burns Award for Excellence in the Field of Excellence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All I'm saying,
Absolutely unhinged, you guys.
I don't think so. I think we're making relevant points here. I don't think
think-
there's anything to disagree
I
with.
think after all of that, we've come to the conclusion that a save percentage award is probably a relevant award that the NHL should have.
And why is it relevant? Because a Leaf is leading the category.
Yes, for sure. And also, I think that makes more sense than the William Jennings, which is the goals against award for each team.
Oh,
and their
it's a
goalies.
far more relevant stat.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm with you.
So I feel like if you did this for 7 years and then all of a sudden you decide to cancel it and besmirch the name of Mr. Crozier,
Besmeech?
besmirch,
Besmirch.
besmear,
Besmirch.
That's not a word.
besmirch the name of Mr. Crozier,
Yeah.
you bring it back. We've solved it. We've solved all the world's problems.
I think
today.
we just
That's
did
what podcasts are for.
I want the camera
Men and
on me
mics.
as little as possible.
Wow.
Solving the world's issues.
No,
You know,
I don't endorse this
sorry,
segment.
let's return to our typical podcast programming. So here's what I got to say about women and alpha males.
What?
That's it. That's all I got, actually.
If I could start the show over, I would.
No, you wouldn't. You
Yeah, I would.
No, I think we did great. Now, Martin Jones is leading the league in
Our next
in save
guest is
percentage.
Aaron Rodgers.
Actually, funnily enough, he doesn't know that he's following such a great segment, but Jason York is joining us in an hour to talk about the Ottawa Senators situation.
Nice.
I want to talk quickly about the Leafs, and then we got to get to Cutter Gauthier and that sort of thing. So, obviously, last night had a couple of great moments. You have Mitchell Marner passing Frank Mahovlich on the all-time points list for the Leafs. I think that puts him 7th.
His full name.
You have Pontus Holmberg, Roman Emperor Pontus Holmberg.
Oh my gosh.
with a one-handed goal, and Mitch Marner saying he's my favorite player in the league.
That was
which
so
I love.
good, and his reaction was so good.
I got a name for it. The Pontus Poke. Because he did it with one hand and he poked it in.
Oh,
Could you call it the Pocus and then call it the Hocus Pocus?
you could. What about
It's too far away from his name.
What about the
Hocus Pontus?
what about the Pontifex?
That's a little better.
Like, you know, they have the short form for the Pope, right? Pontifex. So it's a pontifex, like it's like an effect.
yeah, we haven't.
No? Should we do better?
I think we can do better.
Okay, all right. Well, we're not going to spend too much time on it, but you know, obviously, it's the San Jose Sharks. It's weird to say that they went 9-7-2 at one point because I think this is their 12th regulation loss in a row. So that's rough. And David Quinn said after the game, man, like this wears on you. I can't imagine what that feels like.
To put it into context, this streak that they're on is actually worse than what they began the season with. They began the season 0-10-1, which is only 11 games and also features an overtime loss.
Mm-hmm.
This is across the board. You just show up, take your loss, and go to the next game.
Right.
Dude, it's bad.
Now, I want to ask you something, guys. I've been seeing this lately. I've mentioned this to you guys off the air, but I haven't fully talked about it yet. It really came up for me when the dad's trip happened. And it has to do with a player that did something really great last night. He did several different things. This is Mitchell Marner. Mm-hmm. I use his full name because I want to address him. I don't want to address him personally. The toxicity around Mitch Marner online has been unhinged lately.
Yes.
And
did you
it goes back to, I don't know if you've seen this. If you're not a Leaf fan, you probably didn't. When they were on the dad's road trip, Tavares scored his 1,000th point, and Mitch Marner's dad didn't celebrate the way that other people said that he should.
Yes.
And they were like zaprudering the film to, see, he doesn't like John Tavares. Listen. I can understand why sometimes Leaf fans get frustrated with Mitch Marner. And this also goes back to 2019 when the Leafs rolled over, accepted his number, and he became one of the highest paid wingers in the league.
John Tavares helped make Mitch Marner a very rich man. I don't think anyone in that family dislikes the Tavareses.
I understand why people didn't like the way that his agent negotiated through the press. That they were going to sign with Zurich. That, the number better be north of 10. Oh, now it's 11. Oh my, I'm hearing 13 and a half. You guys remember those reports? I get it. We've all even seen the CBC documentary that features Paul Marner in not the best light. We've all seen the clip.
It's pretty bad.
But we got to, I'm asking, and I'm not trying to tut here, but like, we got to chill here. This player in an off year, and he is having an off year for him.
Yes.
Is on pace for 89 points. Is that $11 million worth of... Do you expect more for $11 million? Yes, I personally expect more of Mitch Marner for $11 million, but he's been better lately. And frankly, I think he's going to turn on the Jets and it'll all be fine. I understand where it comes from to a point, but this guy does not deserve to be your whipping boy. I love the way Willie plays in Toronto. I love that he signs the extension here. When it comes to the media, when it comes to the fans, he loves the city, he loves the fans. But if they ever get on him, he doesn't give a shit.
I'm fascinated by how Willie does next year because everyone loves you for cheap.
Austin Matthews. If he gives a shit, you'd never know.
No.
Tavares, if he gives a shit, you'd never know.
No.
Mitch Marner plays with his heart on his sleeve. I've been critical of Mitch Marner in the playoffs. I've been critical of Mitch Marner in the regular season.
Valid.
But to come after this guy and say he's a bad person or that he doesn't care is just objectively wrong. Yeah. And I think as fans, we got to take a break here and say things are going really, really well. And you have 4 guys who are paid this much for a reason. Do you know that the Toronto Maple Leafs top 4 guys have as many goals as the San Jose Sharks have this year?
Mm-hmm. Oh my God.
They have 81 goals. They are tied with the San Jose Sharks. That's what so when one of them has a bit of an off month or an off start to the year, you got the 3 other guys to pick up the slack. Mm-hmm. You know, everybody's talking about Matthew Tkachuk and how few points he has. He's on pace for like 75 in Florida. What happened there? It's a big deal when your one guy who scores a bunch doesn't score a bunch.
And then he got a hat trick.
Yeah, of course. All I want to say is let's pump the brakes on Mitch Marner. This guy, as much as you're frustrated with his deal or his play or wherever it comes from, or his dad or his agent or whatever it is, this guy loves it here. He loves this team. He grew up wanting to be on this team. He is living the dream that we all wish we could live. And I think he's doing a pretty damn good job.
Yeah.
Can we knock it off?
Well, also he's here. Like what do you want? Like, he plays for your favorite team. He had a 4-point night for your favorite team. And it's a nightly thing. And like, he has 4 points against the Sharks and no one cares because one of the accusations is, well, he's an easy game merchant, right? Like, guys, you need to decide.
You just have to say you don't like him.
Yeah.
Is that a valid criticism or is it, I don't like his face?
Is pro sports for you? Is it Marie Kondo? Does it spark joy? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying you can't criticize this player. I've criticized him a lot of times.
For on-ice play,
I've gotten heat for it. Some things you know, some things you don't. Mm-hmm. Maybe one day. That's called a tease, kids. But like, what do you want from the guy? He bleeds blue. He's having a great season for the team. I don't have any complaints about this player right now.
Jesse Blake.
I'd question how much credence you'd give to the little bubble of people online who are upset at Mitch Marner every time. Like, is that really the majority of Leafs fans? Because I am under the belief that the majority of Leaf fans go to a game and they watch their favorite players do good things and they cheer and they're happy and they go home.
Here's where you're wrong. You're suggesting that Leaf fans go to games. I'm kidding. I'm sorry. Keep going.
That was a good line.
No, you're probably right.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jesse.
No, what was I saying? I feel like the people who take a screenshot of Paul Marner on their laptop and then tweet it out and then angrily talk about that for weeks might be it might be a concentrated bubble of angry people on Twitter, and is that really the majority of Leaf fans? Because there's so many Leaf fans, and if it's just this bubble, then like that just might be a faction of the fan base that's always going to be unhappy, which I think is a thing we're leading to, is that, hey, is pro sports for you? Because you might just be an unhappy individual online, and I don't know if that represents the majority of Leaf fans. I think a lot of people are just like, Mitch Marner scored. Fuck yeah, I'm going home and I gotta go take care of my kid. And that's the end of my all-day discussion about Mitch Marner. I'm not on the internet all day arguing about his father. That's craziness.
No, so I'll push back on one thing. He has not played his best hockey this season. So a lot of fans are like, what's up with this guy? But when I meet people in person, as in not in the psychotic, not real internet, they're like, so what's up with Mitch? And that's the question. Mm-hmm. It's not like, so what's up with this piece of shit whose camp drives everyone nuts? And
they do.
And I think the reasonable what's up with Mitch question is an honest question. I think the majority of people would say that if you just watched the games, you would say, yeah, that guy's a little off this season, blah, blah, blah. But then when it comes down to game one of the playoffs, they're playing the Florida Panthers, you're rooting for this guy. And there's a faction who's just angry and wants to see him fail. But the majority of people who are like, what's wrong with Mitch? Game one, they're like, come on, Mitch, do something. We're excited. And you're cheering.
Yeah. And I know that's partly just being a fan and being emotional. Also, being online, we know, like, sometimes you're dating somebody and you realize, like, in your 20s, you're like, you don't bring out the best in me and I don't bring out the best in you. We should break up. I think that being online, as humanity has understood.
What if a kid fixes it?
Most of us understand that being online doesn't bring out the best in us, right? Right. And so, when I see these tweets and they got like 1,000 likes, I'm like, man, that's a lot of likes for something that's completely unfounded and seems completely without basis in fact. Mm-hmm. And I'm all for being without basis in fact from time to time. For instance, George Peros is biased towards the Florida Panthers, and boy, did that make people mad.
Oh no, that's based in
some reality. No, I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. But the point I'm trying to make here is, like, listen, when the Vancouver Canucks went to the Stanley Cup final in 2011, Mason Raymond had his back snapped in half, and he became the whipping boy for the Vancouver Canucks fans. What was he?
He was the whipping boy before that.
Yeah, and he was a really good player. He came to the Leafs, I remember, afterwards, had a really good year, and then signed in Calgary. And had like a 3-year deal offered to him.
No, this stems from a rant I had in an LFR.
Please take it.
It was during that season, the 10-11 season. The Canucks were so stupid good, and now they're first or second in the NHL again.
They're stupid good again.
They're stupid good again. No, the 2010-11 Canucks were stupid good, and the Leafs were stupid bad. And I remember having lots of thoughts about all these critical comments I saw about Mason Raymond, where I was just like, you guys have no idea how good you have it. You guys have how dare you complain at all? Mm-hmm. You're Vancouver Canucks fans in the year of our Lord, 2011. You have no idea how made in the shade you have it right now.
Yep.
And how right was I?
Well, and so let me bring it back to Mitch Marner for a sec, guys. When I look at the top 10 scorers in Leafs history, outside of without Marner and Matthews, who are both in it right now, outside of Matt Sundin, not a single one of them played for the Leafs past 1985. Matt Sundin did.
Oh.
So Matts was the only one.
Right.
You got Matts, you got Daryl Sittler, you got Dave Keon, Boreas Salming, George Armstrong, Ron Ellis, Frank Mahovlich, Bob Pulford, Ted Kennedy, and if you want to include Rick Vive, you can. How many people, put up a hand, saw those players play either in person or on television? Because all of them, with the exception of Matts, played hockey before I was born.
Yeah.
You have to understand and put it into context, and I know a lot of people don't remember this, but 10 years ago when we started this show, the Leafs were trash. They were garbage, and they were run by an incompetent management group. Mm-hmm. And as much as we have criticized Dubas and Lou and Shanny and all these things because we want this team to win a cup ultimately, we are in a golden era, in the regular season at very least, of Leafs hockey. And we're grading on a
definitely,
curve.
You got to couch it with that.
I understand we haven't seen the playoff success we all want to see.
I don't want your takeaway from this conversation to be everything is great, so don't criticize anyone.
No,
that is very obviously not.
It's the best regular season run in Leafs history. It's one of the worst playoff runs.
Agreed.
They've had.
And I believe, but I just want to say that what you're seeing with Mitchell Marner and what you're seeing with Austin Matthews and William Nylander is special. And this guy is special. And I just want to, I don't need to stick up for an NHL player. He's fine. But it just feels like, hey, it's not really even about sticking up for Mitch Marner. It's about, are you guys not enjoying this? Because this is really fun. And I think this team looks better than it's ever looked in the entire time I've watched it.
And to put it into context, if there's 1,000 people on Twitter and 1,000 tweets went out consecutively, all saying Mitch Marner's trash, the last Leafs playoffs game where they lost to the Panthers did 4 million people just in Canada on television. 1,000 out of 4 million just in Canada is a small, tiny percentage of people who are angry on the internet.
Bingo. Absolutely right. Thought it was worth addressing. But I think you're right, Jesse. I think rationally that is the correct answer.
This kind of conversation might seem odd with the Leafs having won 4 straight, but I think this is the easiest time to have them. Because when the Leafs are losing,
if they'd lost 4
and
straight,
Marner's struggling, no one wants to hear the shit.
Yeah.
No one wants. But now that we're all in a happier, perhaps more rational mood, Can we be honest, look at this a little differently?
I live and die by the Leafs too. If the Leafs lose, I'm in a worse mood the next morning than I would have been.
Yeah.
It actually affects me. That's what being a fan is. I fully admit to that. I fully cop to that. I'm fine with that. I just think, man, we're watching history happen here. Enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm not asking fans to be less ravenous. Be more ravenous.
Be as ravenous as you want. Absolutely.
Yes. But
instead of fuck our guys though, fuck the other guys. You know what I mean? Fuck those guys.
There's that.
They're not us.
I guess there's maybe no one to pick on the Sharks right now.
Yeah, it's true.
But you pick your battles.
Yeah. If you're making a list of the top 25 Leafs of all time, do 5 players on this current team make that list?
Yes.
Top 25?
Top 25.
They might even be in all of them in the top 15, maybe even the top 10.
We're talking Morgan, Mitch, Johnny, Austin, Willie. Do all those guys make the top 20?
Definitely by the end of their Leafs tenure. Definitely, and I would say arguably now. Yeah.
All of them right now.
Austin,
all of them right now.
Austin, unquestionably. Like how many 40 goal scorers have the Leafs ever had even? So Johnny probably gets in there, and Willie, because he scored 40. Mitch.
Mm-hmm.
And what Morgan Riley's done throughout his extended tenure as a Leaf is the top 25 all time.
Absolutely.
That guy's the new vintage. He's getting better with age.
And if you put that into, just to back your entire point, Adam, when you put that into context that you get 5 of the top 25 Leafs of all time,
6.
You get to watch who's 6?
Martin Jones.
The future Roger Crozier Saving Grace Award winner.
Brought to you by MasterCard MDMA.
MBNA MasterCard. Him too. So 6 of the all-time greats of your favorite team. Yeah, you should probably stop and appreciate that a little.
I'll give you guys a fun stat. All of the people you just mentioned in the top 5.
Top 6.
Top 6, sorry. Top
Martin
6.
Jones, yeah.
With the exception of Martin Jones. So 5 of the 6.
He must be included.
All of them are in the top 25 in Leaf scoring ever already, except for John Tavares, who is 6 points away from John Anderson and will move to 25th behind Phil Kessel sometime in the next
Where's Morgan?
Morgan Riley is between Wendell Clark and Doug Gilmour, 446 points. Doug Gilmour had 452 as a Leaf. Wendell had 441. Morgan Riley has 446.
As a defense.
Wow. And he's 19th.
He's played way more.
Yeah.
As a defense.
Well, Borea's 4th all time.
Holy shit.
Borea had 768.
Where's Morgan among ridiculous. D? Does he already have more than Caberlet?
Can I schedule by G? Oh, yeah. He would be, I think Morgan might be 2nd or 3rd. Okay, he's behind Borea, Caberlet, and Tim Horton.
And then Morgan Riley.
Yes. And he's going to pass Tim Horton very likely this year. He's only 12 points behind Tim Horton.
That's pretty crazy.
That's nuts.
I'd buy your donuts.
That's all I'm saying, man. Like we are seeing something special. And I've been on the record saying this: the more physical this Leafs teams play, the better they look. And I think you've seen it against I mean, the Sharks are a little bit unfair, but the Leafs in previous years played down to teams like the Sharks.
Yes.
They got beat by, and frankly, they've done it. They did it early on this year. Look at the Blackhawks games. Terrible.
The Blackhawks, the Sabres, the Blue Jackets, and to a degree, the Sens.
This team, we'll talk about the Sens later on. This team is, to me, different than what we ever saw under Lou or what we ever saw under Dubas. And I think that we got to Lou and Do, baby. I think we got to enjoy this a little bit. And I think they're just coming on. You know, you look at, so first off, it was great to see Nick Robertson get some goals last night because he only got in because of the flu.
Where's he on the list?
He's not very high yet.
No.
He scored a goal with pure anger.
Sure.
I liked it.
I liked it too. I'm seeing guys step up like Bertuzzi. How long do we really think it's going to be that Bertuzzi's advanced stats are as good as they are and the results still aren't there? And by the way, he did have a great game on Saturday. Oh, I'm not taking that away. He's had great games, but the points haven't been there.
That line, on like from a personality standpoint, is one of the most unintentionally funny lines in the NHL.
I love it. It's so
three guys who barely speak, who just play puck, like who just go out there, do not speak, have the strangest style.
William Nylander's Twitter bio. Give me the puck.
Give me the puck. He dresses overly flamboyantly. Tavares dresses like a dad. And Tyler Bertuzzi wears the 5 or 6 closest pieces of clothing nearest to him when he wakes up in the morning. And they just dominate.
Yeah.
They're the funniest line.
Oh, yeah. Now, Samsonov is back. It looks like he's going to back up Martin Jones tomorrow night when the Leafs play the Islanders, and then he could start on the road in Detroit. If he is going to get a start, you want it to be on the road, not in front of the home crowd. Yeah. Detroit's not a very pleasant place to play right now. It's a good team. Mm-hmm. They've had some struggles, but I still think it's a far more solid team than I thought they were, that's for sure. But a lot of people are freaked out about this, rightfully so. I have my questions because I don't know how the Leafs management thinks that giving the guy 10 days to get it together is enough time when he's going through whatever it is he's going through. And I'm not one of those people that believes that you should start him in the AHL because as we saw with Jack Campbell, when he got torched in his first couple of games there, we saw it with Freddie Anderson too. He had a hip injury, but we saw that with the Leafs too. The AHL's not an easy league.
No.
It's really actually very hard. Yeah. Most of those guys are replacement level players at the NHL level. So they're good.
The shooting is not terribly far behind the NHL and the defense is not nearly as good.
Exactly. So I understand
it's maybe not the greatest place to get your confidence back.
I understand not starting him there, and I understand you want to get Hill to be back into the games with the Marlies.
The Marlies are terrible too, by the way.
Okay. So yeah, you see that also doesn't look good.
They're not very good.
I'm concerned because we've seen, and Jesse, I think you said this earlier in the show, you've seen how they play in front of Marty, and you see how they play in front of Ilya. And what's not going to help Ilya is a team that's not confident in front of him.
Mm-hmm. Yes, but we've already seen this not work. Like, we've already seen it not work in the American League, and they have obviously made the decision to protect Hildeby. They played Jones 4 straight games, 3 of them against just awful opponents. Mm-hmm. 2 games against the Sharks. There it is on a silver platter for you. This is perhaps mean to say about the San Jose Sharks, but if you play Dennis Hildeby against the Sharks back-to-back and he gets shutouts in both of those games, I think you learn nothing about Dennis Hildeby. They're that bad, right? And then there's the Ducks as well. They opted to not play this player. They obviously want to protect this player and have him playing as many games as possible with the Marlies. With Sammy, there's a lot of things that, because it's mental, there's a lot of things that we don't know. And I'm not being cryptic. Like, we do not know what's going on. They're obviously confident in his ability to at least back up. And you know what helps? They're now confident in Martin Jones. Mm-hmm. You can't tell me when they signed him to this deal, they thought Martin Jones would be able to do this.
No, or expect him to do this.
There's nobody thought this at all.
Can Samsonov be the backup goalie, the absolute backup goalie. Like, because that's not what they were doing. Like, Jones was kind of the starter, but he wasn't getting like 3/4 of the starts or something like that. If Sammy transitions to full-time backup, does that maybe take a little bit of weight off his shoulders?
Well, full-time backup until Wool's back.
And then he'll still be full-time backup.
Well, I don't know.
Well,
no, it's probably
perhaps not.
It's
I don't
Wool Jones. Like, that's what you got to roll with.
That's a fascinating
I think Adam has a point with it's kind of quick. I don't understand if you're running.
No, it's Samsonov.
If you're rolling with,
Stop it.
Martin Jones, why wouldn't you just push it a little bit more? Like, even if mentally they think he's ready, why not just keep going with Jones if you're going to keep playing him?
He's not even played enough games to qualify for the save percentage lead in the league. Like, it's not like we're running Marty Jones out here.
No.
He didn't have to play back-to-back in California. He did. He didn't have to play last night against San Jose. They're losers at that point going into that game. They were losers of 11 straight. Do you need to protect a 22-year-old goalie that much that you couldn't put him in? Give Jones a break, get through the next week. Give this guy some time. And I know that it's pro sports. I think, and watch, also we'll say all this, and then Sammy stands on his head and everything's good, and what are we even talking about?
Awesome. That's what we're rooting for.
Exactly. I'm just asking, are we giving this guy enough time?
You know why, like, people don't understand goalies? Remember the crazy split stats last year between Samsonov and Matt Murray? Matt Murray was fantastic on the road. Samsonov was fantastic at home. His first home loss, wasn't it in like December or something like that?
I can't remember that.
Dude, like, he was stellar. And now it feels like, okay, you cannot play him at home.
Mm-hmm.
Like, fans that give you the Bronx cheer, it's perhaps not the best place to get your confidence back. I don't have a problem with, listen, one thing as fans here, I think we need to concede that the Leafs might know more than we do here. Mm-hmm. They've had a week or so to evaluate Ilya Samsonov and think about, playing him in the American League. They've also had a week to evaluate Dennis Hildeby. And I do think that is part of it. They wanted to get him acclimated to the NHL and face NHL shots at practice. They obviously put a lot of stock into practice because Samsonov, they said this whole time, has practiced well. Was Hildeby practicing well? Was he practicing poorly? Did he get the flu bug that supposedly the team is still being affected by? What's going on here?
Which, by the way, we had that, or the two of us had that over the holiday. Yeah. Whew.
Man.
Wow.
You should ask them the same strain. You should ask the Leafs doctors.
My first thought, so I went to the walk-in yesterday, and he's like, it's going around. It starts as gastro, and then it moves up to your head. And I'm like, that sounds identical to what the Leafs had. Dude, they missed some games. They felt fine, and now guys are missing games again.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
No, you and Austin, same guys.
We are the same. Yeah. We our test results, our combine results. I don't know if you saw me in Sweden. The same.
How's your box jump?
It's pretty good. It's pretty. Hey, well, I think you saw in Sweden. My problem was not jumping far. I jumped through the damn wall at the youth draft combine.
It was about sticking the landing and not running into the promo signs.
That's right.
Now we know that if you hurt yourself in Sweden, people say "Oi." I did not.
And then they want some form chocolate too there, Steve? Or?
Yeah, he gave me some form chocolate to make me feel better.
Did we ever talk about how you asked William Legason about what was the food that Steve said?
Oh, the onion beer or the garlic beer.
The garlic
and
beer.
he'd never heard of it.
And then he's like, no, that's not something.
He's like, no, that's not something.
We asked the Swedish person.
I felt so embarrassed. Yeah. I was like, everybody was tweeting about the garlic beer. Wait, William Legason.
No,
you never heard of it?
It is absolutely a real thing. David Alter hunted it down like it was the Declaration of Independence.
From Sweden. He's born there.
I know people who drank it.
Yeah, but it's not a cultural thing.
Maybe I didn't say it was a cultural thing.
Maybe it's a thing that like Swedes are like, look at we're gonna make these tourists do, idiots. And then they like maybe it's like an inside Swedish joke that all of them are inside on and none of us are.
If you're listening right now or watching this podcast, go back and watch the William Lagesson episode on Agent Provocateur just for that moment of Adam asking him, hey, so this garlic beer, it's like really big in Sweden, and him just being like, what the hell is this man talking about?
I never said it was. I said garlic was big in Sweden.
No, it wasn't just you. It was other people in the media.
It
but
was all the NHL
there was
media
a chorus.
people.
There was a chorus of people.
They're like, yeah, we went to Sweden. We tried this garlic beer, and all these NHL media people are tweeting about it. And Adam asks, and he's like, no, dude, that's not a thing.
Dude, I love that.
By the way, I also asked him about, because he has never scored a goal in the NHL. I asked him about what that's going to feel like. You could see him like, he was almost upset with me for asking, but like
two times that interview, he got really upset at Adam.
Yep. Idiot.
How many questions?
Bad interview. What's that?
How many questions did you get in?
Oh, I got lots in. I think, listen, Lagesson rules, man. He's a cool guy. Another guy just had a kid, right? And playing like crazy good. So I know Simon Benoit is getting a lot of the oxygen, and he should.
Got his first point.
But Lagesson was great every time he was in. I want to move on to Cutter Gauthier because we got to get to it before Jason York comes on. Mm-hmm. Cutter Gauthier, Monday night we see this trade. It's Cutter Gauthier, who's a first-round pick of the Philadelphia Flyers. He's a top 10 pick. He's a big part of what the Flyers want to be in when they grow up in 3 years. As they kind of mature as a franchise and in this retool. He is traded for a second-round pick in Jamie Drysdale. Jamie Drysdale has some upside. A second-round pick is a good lottery pick, but you're like, wait a second. Sorry, lottery ticket, not a lottery pick. This guy was a really high pick for the Philadelphia Flyers. What happened?
Without context, the trade makes no sense.
So then we get a tweet from Friedge, and he goes, hey, my understanding is, and again, he said on the NHL Network that he's like, this didn't really pop up on my radar until like Monday. So it was like really quick. He said that basically Gauthier's people refused to meet with the Flyers at the World Championships in Gothenburg, where William Lagesson is from, by the way. And he said, and then they made the trade. And so at that point, if that's all we know, it's like, well, that doesn't make any sense either. What do you mean they refused to meet? And then we come to find out, and all the Philly accounts start to fire up. Because, if there's anything we know about Philadelphia is they're super chill. They said, well, he also wasn't at development camp. There was a clip, I think Grav tweeted about Cutter was on a podcast and he talked about how great it was to meet John Tortorella. Everything seemed kumbaya. What happened? So then it's followed by Keith Jones talking to the media. It's followed by Danny Briere talking to the media. And it's followed by John Tortorella talking to the media. And all of them said something along the lines of, if you don't want to be a Flyer, and he told us he didn't want to be a Flyer, you're not going to be a Flyer.
And a lot of former Flyers in the media as well,
who are saying all those same things as well.
I want to say Chris Therien was one of them. Scott Hartnell
was another one.
Was one of them. Dude.
By the way, I liked Biz making fun of Hartnell's haircut. He's like, terrible. That's why Cutter Gauthier wanted out.
It's terrible. He's right. He's right. He's absolutely right. No, dude, the Flyers coordinated PR campaign against Cutter Gauthier. I've seen less coordination for people running for president. Like, full court press. They made the trade, and within minutes, coach, GM, whatever Keith Jones' job is,
hole in the wall.
Yeah, dude,
like that. So here's what happened. What happened was the Philadelphia Flyers made a trade where they objectively, at least from this point of view, right now, got worse. The organizational value of the Philadelphia Flyers went down. They did not win this trade.
They got better.
No, they didn't win this trade.
Term.
No, they didn't win this trade.
Well, they got a guy who was on their team now versus a guy who wasn't.
This is okay, fair enough, but they didn't win this trade.
I don't think.
Maybe.
I agree with you.
No, by everybody that you read that's like, okay, objectively from a hockey perspective, this isn't great.
No.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about like projecting Gauthier. Gauthier is projected to be the better prospect than Drysdale will be a defenseman.
Bingo. But and that's why I'm saying from today.
Sure.
From today.
Sure, yeah.
So what the Flyers had to do was they had to go out and they had to sell this trade. Because this trade is objectively a step back. It might be a minor step back. It might turn out to be nothing. There's plenty of first-round picks that turn into nothing in the NHL. Mm-hmm. He might be playing in Europe in 5 years. I don't know. but he's just won the gold at the World Junior Championships. Values at an all-time high. I think Keith Jones said that. They kept this on the down low. And in fact, they also go out and they say, well, we protected him because we didn't want him to be seen as a problem for not wanting to play for the Philadelphia Flyers.
Yeah, you protected him
So
they like kept, he's like a lamb for slaughter. They protected him for months and months and months, trade, and now he has no more value to us because we've traded him. Execute the kid. That's exactly what they've done.
There's more backstory that's been kind of revealed if you want to go into that too.
Yeah.
Because we kind of know the timeline of how this kind of unfolded. Well, they suspect it unfolded based on the reporting.
Because it wasn't just the World Championships. Didn't John LeClaire, my line mate, and someone else from the Flyers, didn't they go to his game at Boston College?
Mm-hmm. So
he's like, dude, I don't want to talk to you.
So initially when he's drafted, he's like, yeah, gung ho about the Philadelphia Flyers and all that podcast stuff comes out. And then in March of last year, there's reported to be a meeting with Gauthier's representative and the Flyers. And they say, because his season ended in Boston College, I think they lost in the quarters or the semis, I forget, doesn't matter. And he goes to them, and he's like, I want to come to the NHL for the rest of the season. I think there's 19 games left.
Like Matthew Nice.
And they say, we can't do that. We're going to be in cap overage if you come to the NHL, and we got to pay you all these bonuses, and we don't want to pay the cap overage into next year to bring you there. And it's suspected that Gauthier's camp took that as the Flyers weren't that high on him now.
Well,
and this also predates Daniel Briere becoming general manager, because in May of this past year, they meet with Gauthier again to see where he's at. And that's the meeting on the Zoom call where he tells them that he doesn't want to be a Philadelphia Flyer anymore.
To put it in the Leaf terms, remember the Mitch Marner negotiations where he's like, I was put on the fourth line and I didn't get my bonuses or whatever. And yeah, okay, but Lou was the GM when that happened. Dubas is the GM now. Sorry. Yeah. End of point. I just had to cough.
Okay, I thought you were going to continue. But he takes this. They're not going to bring me to the NHL as a slight. And the Philadelphia Flyers and the regime at the time, and Daniel Briere, when he then took over and his new cohort, they said, hey, there's going to be a spot for you at training camp. And if you make the NHL team, you don't have to go back to college and everything. You can come, you'll play for the Flyers and all that stuff. And at that moment, back in May, he had already made up his mind that he was done with the Flyers. And credit to the Flyers for keeping this a secret.
I'm shocked.
From the May Zoom call to now, and none of these insiders weren't on it until Monday when the trade leaks. That's
unbelievable. There were like 20
20
interested teams.
Yeah, and they made a bunch of calls, and we hear about the Montreal thing at the draft. So they've been clearly calling all these teams.
Was it Montreal was supposed to? What were they supposed to do? Reinbacher.
Yeah, they're gonna do that swap and then move down, and then Mitch Goff would have still been available and all this.
Man, Habs fans are just not feeling that.
Yeah,
great
about that. Caught a stray.
They caught us. I don't know. Like, if I assume the rumors are true to those stories, but we don't know. Substantiated, but it's just so weird to me that for Cutter Gauthier, he can't see past. Hey, at this moment, we don't really have room for you. And he takes that as such a slight that he doesn't want.
That's why I don't think that's the whole story.
I don't think more.
That's
the story is
exactly
easy to me.
Okay.
Like he wants to do what a lot of college players do, which is burn a year of his entry level contract. It's not a deal that I think bruises his ego necessarily. It's an issue that costs him millions of dollars, literally millions of dollars, because you miss out on rookie bonuses and you miss out on getting to your second contract sooner because you assume you're going to, you're Cutter Gauthier. You assume you're going to tear it up.
There's 19 games left in the season when they had this March meeting, and the Boston College season ended, and he needed to play 11 games to kick in to pass that year for the entry level deal. Of course, 10. He wants to do that.
10. Or no, I think it's game 1.
No, there's a minimum. You got to pay at least 10.
No, because Nye's burned a year.
He played. play. No, there's a minimum. Like you need to play the 10.
Yes, you do.
Yes.
You do. You have to.
It's not one game. Like it's not.
okay.
Yeah. So you need to play the 10 games, and there's plenty of games to do that. There's 9 extra that he could have sat out, and he didn't get to do that. And I assume that cost him a lot of money. And
you're
not happy.
Yeah, you're to free agency in
a year earlier, like all that stuff. There's a lot in play there.
And he's also probably thinking like, this team sucks. Like, and they're good. They're good now because Tortorella's doing his blood from the stone thing that he always does. But I mean, going into the other thing was though I found weird is development camp, him not going. And maybe this guy never talks about it, and maybe it is a Chuck Fletcher era problem that has leaked over. But at the end of the day, this still cost the Philadelphia Flyers. They did a great job selling it. They did a great job riling up the fan base. Everybody's like, oh, I give the Flyers full credit. And you should. They were able to keep it quiet. That's great. But like, frankly, the reason that they came out, the reason you heard from the president, the general manager, and the head coach within hours is because they had to sell this.
But what can you do when somebody exercises their contractual right? Because
what they did.
Cutter Gauthier, he did what he's allowed to do. And he can become a free agent if you want
cut a better
to
deal
and all that stuff. So
cut a better deal.
I give credit to them for making the Drysdale deal and getting something that looks decent. Like Jamie Drysdale is not.
Oh, he's a good player.
Laugh at.
Good player.
He's that second round pick.
He hasn't been awesome, but again,
he's been injured.
I am begging everyone to. First of all, he's been injured, which I think is maybe the most valid. He missed an entire season, and I am begging everyone to stop. Please disregard all numbers pertaining to the Anaheim Ducks until further notice.
Yeah, it's true.
They don't count.
It's true.
They do not count.
Poor Zegras got injured last night.
Yes,
well,
he did.
They can't trade him now.
Yeah, well, after missing early season.
And he's available. No one's defensive numbers look good on the Ducks.
Right.
Stop. That's enough. Didn't we just get this lesson? Like, no offense to Simone Benoit, I think Jamie Drysdale has a higher ceiling. I think he has a slightly higher ceiling.
Right.
I think he's going to be fine, especially if you give him to John Tortorella. Come on. You give him to John Tortorella, I think he's going to be just fine.
I don't know. I look at this. I like Jamie Drysdale, by the way. I like the deal for the Flyers. I think it helps them now, too, which rewards the players for a good season. But the reality is that based on their plan, Cutter Gauthier, if the plan was going A+, everything's good, Cutter Gauthier is still in the Flyers organization, right?
Yeah.
And Keith Jones, Daniel Briere, John Tortorella did their jobs. They sold it to the fan base. And I get it, man. If somebody said they didn't want to play for the Leafs, I'd be like, then fine, fuck off. Like, you don't have the guts to play here. I get it. It's tougher to play in Toronto than it is... Name a market,
Gauthier
whatever.
should get booed for the rest of his career in Philadelphia.
Sure,
that should happen.
He's going to.
Yeah, and that should happen because he didn't want to play for that team. That fan base should.
And I don't fault fans for being fans, but I also want to say that, and I think it's important Flyers fans recognize that this is the trade you've been sold. If it was a really equal trade, it wouldn't have had to be sold.
Adam, great friggin' point. That's a 10 out of 10. I am torn between he is a legal adult. He is an NHL draft pick. He is a 5th overall NHL draft pick. And there was also a full court press media destruction of a university student. And is there something to he's an adult and he's responsible for his own decisions, but also I'm slightly uncomfortable with what they did to this kid?
When you fly to Sweden to talk to an individual and he won't talk to you and hasn't talked to you for 10 months,
yeah,
I think you're allowed to be a little upset.
Okay, here's a question.
And when you get back Jamie Drysdale in a second for somebody who doesn't want to stand next to you or have a conversation with you, I think it's a tidy piece of work.
Yes. Now, I know John LeClaire a little bit. I think if you don't want a conversation with him, you're stupid. However, okay.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
If I were getting ready to go on a plane trip to Sweden for the express purpose of speaking to someone, I would... Stop me if this idea is crazy. Confirm if that person is going to speak to me or not.
Nah. If you're talking about like the money and the time, who gives a shit? You're a $1 billion organization. You can afford a plane trip.
Yeah, but you
go take a shot.
You can't get your time back. So you're just going to willy-nilly hop on an 8-hour plane ride to Scandinavia to speak to someone with no warning.
But Cutter Gauthier is like tens of millions of dollars to the Flyers organization.
Absolutely.
If he becomes a number one center in the NHL, yes, you're taking one plane trip on a private jet to Sweden. Yeah, I'm going to spend a day doing that to try and have a conversation with my $10 million investment.
All right, Jesse.
What are you talking about?
I'm showing up to your house. That's all the information you get. I'm showing up.
If you drafted me and was like, hey, you're going to be the future of my franchise, and then I ignored you for 8 months, of course I'm going to show up to your house, or you're going to show up to my house.
What? You still
knock on my
people
door.
Are still people. You have to schedule, be like, hey, I want to talk to you.
I'm sure they did. I'm sure they called up the agent and was like, hey, we're coming. We're going to try and have a conversation with him. And then when they got there, it fell through.
Is it more realistic that they were simply at the World Juniors and while they were there, they were like, let's speak to Cutter?
Sure. Both can be true.
Because, but they're making it sound like we flew to Sweden and he didn't even talk to us.
I'm sure
just for him.
I'm sure they didn't get off the plane, say, hey, can we meet with you? And then he said no, and they turned around and went home. I'm sure they did other things. Yes.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it wasn't, we flew there for the express purpose. No, it was not the express purpose.
It was a part of the plan and he wouldn't talk to them.
It is surprising, however, Leclerc, I don't think Leclerc likes to fly. Yeah, we talked about this. He drives from, I think, somewhere in Pennsylvania, Philadelphia-ish, to Toronto every year for the Eric Lindros Celebrity Hockey Classic because I don't think he likes flying and he hates Pearson International Airport.
I don't blame him there.
And
everybody should.
He is correct. John.
Every
Leclerc
time that airport wins awards, I'm like, how much did you pay for that?
Stop. Just stop.
They pay for
self-voted on award.
Yeah, exactly. We created this award and we award it to me.
So I'm just
sponsored by MasterCard.
I'm just picturing John Leclerc driving from Philly to Boston to meet with this person, and then I'm just not going to meet John Leclerc. Now, I do have one thing I want to say. I am trying to play devil's advocate with Cutter Gauthier because I can't wrap my head around someone being this rude. And also he hasn't said anything. The other thing, not to insult the Anaheim Ducks organization, but it has not been a marquee franchise for quite some time in the NHL. Mm-hmm. And this kid, instead of going from Boston College to the Flyers, is about to go from one of the cushiest universities, especially for hockey, in the world to the Ducks.
He is joining some pretty good young players, though.
He is, and a future that involves Zegras and Mason McTavish and Cutter Gauthier.
Doesn't involve Trevor Zegras, according to Frank Cervalli.
Okay, fine. Leo Carlson.
Yeah. Cervalli was saying that Zegras' name is out there.
It's out there.
For trades.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Why?
I
don't think that makes sense.
I agree with you.
Is this like the Brody's going to be traded thing?
I don't think it is like that. I think this is, I get the sense that, remember that, didn't they have like a crazy negotiation? And,
it's him and Drysdale. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
think that the Ducks didn't want to pay Zegras what they ended up paying him. They don't think he's worth that. And they would like to, I think that they think that maybe this is what he is. And
why'd you sign him? What did you have to win games this year?
They didn't. Yeah. And there was that rumor, I think out of Chicklets, the Rear Admiral was talking about how he was worried about playing under Torts and that there was a rookie GM. And I'm like, well, Verbeek is a rookie GM. I don't believe that.
I don't believe that.
I think here's what it is.
Coaches get fired so often.
Where Gauthier went wrong, at least from what we know, is that he refused to meet with them. You gotta listen, if you don't want to play for a team, that is completely your right. Like, just because they drafted you doesn't mean you have to play there.
That's one thing Frege pointed out. Like, he's not the first college player to just be like, I'm not signing with you, but also giving the team a heads up, explaining why. Supposedly he just hasn't explained why. Mm-hmm. Blake Wheeler did this.
Pierre-Luc Dubois didn't explain to the Columbus Blue Jackets why he all of a sudden didn't want to sign there.
Not really. Zach Hyman didn't sign with the Florida Panthers, who drafted him. No one remembers that. Adam Fox was on 2 different teams
2 times, yeah.
before ending up in New York. He was drafted by Calgary, got traded to Carolina. Man, can you imagine Adam Fox on this Hurricanes team?
Was he the he likes to go to the library guy?
That was Dougie Hamilton.
Oh, Dougie Hamilton.
Imagine reading.
Stupid.
I just think. Listen, the thing that makes Gauthier look bad here is not meeting with the team and probably not going to development camp as well. I get Flyers fans being pissed off. I'd be pissed off too. Fans are going to fan. I just think if the Flyers were being honest today, if they had their way and things were perfect, Gauthier is a member of the organization and Drysdale is still in Anaheim, and so is that second round pick. That's just the end of it. And I think that as much as, yes, Cutter Gauthier is an adult, he's 18 years old, he's a man, he's making his own decisions.
He's going to be 20 in a week.
Oh, he's going to be 20 in a week. Okay, fine. They sure did bring out the knives. And I understand it from their perspective, but I also think I'd like to know a little bit more. There just doesn't seem like a finished
we're missing
product.
a little.
It has to be.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he'll ever talk about it.
Well, I think that's a mistake, first of all.
Yeah, I think he should.
Because he looks stupid.
But so did Pierre-Luc Dubois, and he's got a gigantic contract in LA, and he's playing on the 4th line.
On the 4th line.
Yeah. I don't know if we do have to ask the question. We don't have time probably to talk PLD, but like, does this guy like hockey or?
Look, when does the trade request come down?
When is it the team's fault again?
He's on the 4th line.
Stop. I think it's a little premature.
I mean, listen, the Kings are really good.
Kings are great.
Whether you're on the 1st or the 4th line, the cup ring is the same size.
Yeah.
But it's tough for him right now.
You're gonna be there for a while. Yeah. So I think there's more to this story to be told, and
one person I feel actually kind of really bad for is Jamie Drysdale.
Yes.
He came out and said he had no idea this was coming. There was just no idea that he could be traded at this moment, and just all of a sudden you get this phone call and you're a Philadelphia Flyers. That sucks for him. Just on the human level of NHL players being moved and everything. You expect it around the trade deadline. You expect it if you got like a big contract and there are rumors and all this stuff. But to be a young prospect who seems to be in an organization for the next decade because you're there and you signed a contract to just all of a sudden get moved, sucks for him and his family and his life.
Well, and John Tortorella was asked like a pretty relevant question, like, hey, you have 8 defensemen right now. Like, what are the Flyers going to do? What are the plans there? And I imagine being one of the D who is not having the greatest time sticking in the lineup this season on the Flyers. You got to be going, okay, this kid was a top 20 pick or whatever he was. Traded him
top 10.
Top 10?
Jamie Drysdale went 6 or 7, I want to say.
He was high.
Yeah.
And, okay, they just traded him for Cutter Gauthier. They probably have higher expectations for him than me. I probably make more than him.
6 in 2020.
Probably gone.
Yeah. I also think it's great for the Flyers. Even though ideally you still want your that player in the organization, Jamie Drysdale adds a lot to their organization right now. And that team deserved some help for the effort and the surprise and how good they've been. Nobody who had the Flyers anywhere but the basement.
Not me.
Right? Me. So that's a really good story.
A lot of really good story. I mean, Sean Couturier has got to be somewhere in the Masterton conversation.
Oh, yeah.
I thought he was done.
Didn't play for 2 years.
I thought he was done, and he's great.
Watch, Ryan Ellis makes like a triumphant comeback come playoffs.
Who knows? I hope so.
Yeah.
Right.
And so
that Masterton trophy weirdly has like a hot competition this year because Matt Pacioretty, like in his post-game speech, and he didn't play for a season and a half.
Two Achilles injuries.
Two. Like insane. So maybe they can have like a co-trophy this year because there's like a lot of
why not?
guys.
Why not? They're great stories.
It's always amazing. Such a weird trophy. No, this guy had a tougher plight than the other. Like,
so I feel kind of awkward being like, Patches over Couturier.
And then you're like pitting good stories against each other.
Yeah. How do we score this? It's like a boxing tie. You're like, I don't know.
And then there's a chart from JFresh about who's got the better comeback struggles.
And then there's the years where it's like so and so is old. and still playing.
He's doing it as an old man.
Nuts.
Yeah.
Marlowe's 82 and
You are
he's got
so
an assist.
old. We're giving you an award for it.
Well,
He's 38.
yeah, I'm pretty sure Gio will be the Leafs nominee this year. Just for
He's
that.
old.
40. He's a man. He's 40.
He's not a kid.
Yeah. So come after me. Anyway, we are about to bring Jason York on. So we got to talk a little bit about the Ottawa Senators. And just to mention too, Shane Pinto will be able to resume skating with the Sens without contact this week. The club does still have to clear cap space once he signs his deal. He is not eligible until January 21st. So that is a little bit of Pierre Dorian magic still lingering.
Wild, that's still an issue.
Yeah, I think Dominic Kubalik, pack your bags.
You are a Chicago Blackhawk.
Bringing on, for the first time ever, a 5-year Ottawa Senator, among other places, the Ducks, the Bruins, the Predators, Jason York. Woo!
No, Adam.
Sorry.
That's-
Go ahead, please.
That's not what he's most famous for.
What is he most famous for, Steve?
My former coworker at ice surfing.
Yeah!
Hey, now we're talking.
Let's go.
Now we're talking.
The best show on the internet. Gosh darn it. We had Peter Mansbridge on that one time. It was great.
Gosh darn it, people like us Dangles.
They sure
Sounds like
do.
Oh God. Am I the only guy that calls you Dangles, by the way?
You call, yeah, pretty much. But I love it. I really
like
do
it?
love it. I miss you. I miss you so much, Yorkie. I really
Thanks,
do.
I appreciate the love. Miss you too, buddy.
Yeah. Do you have any good memories from ice surfing, Jason, with Steve? Any story you can share?
Oh God. I just remember when you got your new clothes, they gave you really tight fitting clothes. and it was kind of,
I made them tight fitting, Yorkie.
yeah, very like tight looking. Dangles had his own special look because he sat over on the Dangle desk.
Yeah.
And when Merrick and I did our thing, we'd go over to Dangles and he'd have to do something outrageous. But I always remember his clothes were way too tight.
A whole season working together, and that's what I generated.
I love that. I love that.
Because that's when they put like TV clothes on you.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
It wasn't just, hey, you show up in the hoodie and everyth's relaxed. No, you were on Sportsnet, here's some TV clothes, and they were a little.
Yeah,
little
you know what I remember
snug.
most about Dangles? He got fat.
But that Dangle, he had this thing called the Dangle desk. And it was pretty good. No, it was good, man. That show never should have got canceled. It was something for everybody.
I thought so. I thought it was excellent and great and should have been on YouTube.
What's great is that, it shouldn't have been on Twitter.
No.
But what's great about it is that it is now on ESPN.
I know.
With Weeks and Buchagros and all those guys. I hope I pronounced his name right.
Yeah, they stole our bit, Yorkie. They stole our bit.
You know what? The future is podcasting anyways, fellas. We all know it.
Well,
Absolutely.
well,
Glad
that's
to hear that.
and we're so glad you're here to talk about it. So Jason, the reason that I kind of said to Steve, I'm like, we got to have Jason on because I was watching your tweets this past weekend about the Senators. Obviously, you played there for a long, long time. So really, really good teams that you played for, and the Senators are a really odd story because nobody had them last place in the division behind the Montreal Canadiens this deep into the season. There's no way. And in fact, I think most of us had them as an outside shot to make the playoffs. And
they have the skill.
They have the skill. They're spending to the cap. Like they can't even bring Shane Pinto back until they clear cap once he's available January 21st. I wanted to get your thoughts on what the hell's going on.
Well, a couple of things. So number one, when Michael Andlauer bought it, that whole process took so long. So when he finally got control of the team, it was really too late for him to do any changes. Because I really believe if he would have got it and the process maybe happened in the spring, he would have made some changes earlier. Because he eventually, we all know the story, he fired Pierre Dorian, then DJ Smith got fired. But it was just the timing of the whole process, and then throw in the whole Pinto saga. It was just so much to deal with. But when you look at this team, and hey, listen, I'm guilty too, boys. I had them as a playoff team. I just think there was a huge overestimation where this team was, because this is when I look at teams and I evaluate teams, there's a couple of things the Ottawa Senators are really missing. If you look at good teams around the NHL, they have experience down the middle for the most part. So when you look at Ottawa's center ice position, you got Tim Stützle, who's born in the year 2002.
Oh, wow.
You got Josh. Yeah, how about that one? We talked about us feeling old. Then you got Josh Norris, who through injuries he hasn't even played 200 games in the league yet. Then Pinto, who was arguably their best two-way center, out with the gambling. So you take him out. Then you got throw Ridley Gregg. So down the middle, guys, they're one of the youngest teams in the NHL. Then throw in the fact, I think, and I'm biased, I'm a right shot D. Every team is looking for right shot D studs. Ottawa doesn't have one. They've got all these guys on the left side. They got Jacob Chychrun. They've got Sanderson, who's going to be a real good player, also a really young player, and they got Thomas Chabot. They're missing that really good right shot D who can play defensively, and they're just way too young down the middle. The way Dorian constructed this team, he spent all the money and allocated all the dollars to the wing. And the wing is probably the least of your important positions on an NHL hockey team. And I just think the Ottawa Senators are flawed the way they're built. And it's going to take time. And I think everybody just overestimated where they're going to be at. And they had injuries and goaltending, all those other things too. But it's just, for me, it's youth down the middle and right shot D presence.
So their goaltending's been getting shredded all season.
Oh,
one of the first things Jacques Martin did when he joined the Sens was he sort of threw goaltending a bone. And he said, the team's not playing well enough in front of them. They're good goaltenders. You played D for a long time.
Yeah.
Is there something to what he's saying? Is this team, you want your goalies to give you a chance to win, but is the team not giving the goalies that opportunity?
I would say when the Senators give up chances, they give up $10. And it's like, I don't know if you guys saw the game last night against Calgary. They had a chance to win that game. And all of a sudden, when they make mistakes in their own zone, they make big ones. And yeah, I would say both goaltenders haven't played well this year for sure. They got to own it too. You look at some other teams where their goaltenders bailed them out. Their goalies just don't bail them out, but they don't help them out either. Here's the other thing, guys, too, with Ottawa. Look what happens to goaltenders when they leave Ottawa.
They get better.
Well, they become all-stars.
Yeah. Yeah.
They didn't have Joey Decord, but they lost him in the expansion draft. Well, he's in Seattle right now, and hey, guess what? He's their best goaltender. And guys, it's been a really tough place for goaltenders to play. And it's ironic, on our podcast yesterday, we had on Damian Rhodes and Ron Tugnut.
Oh, yeah.
Two old school Ottawa goaltenders. And I asked them, I said, guys, is there something to playing in a Canadian market? Toronto's a great example, right? There's so much pressure when you play in a Canadian market as a goaltender because all eyes are on you, right? I personally think there is. I just think some guys just can't handle playing in a Canadian market, that the pressure just eats them up. That's what I think about it.
So the Sens have changed the owner. It passed away. They got a new owner. They changed the GM. They've changed the head coach. They changed everything around the team except the players. At what point is it time to move some pieces of the young core and get new bodies in there?
Right now?
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah. We've reached that point.
I think he's right. Yeah, well,
listen, guys, I say this all the time. DJ Smith took a ton of heat when he was coaching, and sure, he's got to own some of it. But at the end of the day, it always comes back to the players. Those are the guys on the ice, and I said earlier, yeah, they're young down the middle, and that's going to take a little longer than people had anticipated. But I just think they're at a point now where I actually do think they need to move somebody. They need a shakeup. They need to grab guys' attention, and you're kind of out of cards to play right now. Like, there's not really many cards left in the deck that you can play to shoot a little shot of adrenaline into these guys, right?
Well, and that kind of brings up the culture shift, because there's I think Sens fans, from what I'm seeing, are are kind of talking about there's a culture issue in there. Whether that's, I mean, we saw Daniel Alfredsson yelling at one of the players who was just basically out there for a good pregame skate in the middle of the game. Yeah, and
I saw that.
Yeah, and so like it's great to have Alfie on the bench. Jacques Martin, by all accounts, and maybe you could talk about this, if you're not playing well, is not exactly the most fun guy to play for, and that's probably a good thing. The players loved DJ Smith. Is that part of the problem?
Well, I kind of put this analogy right now. The team's playing like a bunch of guys that have lost their dog. Like they just, you can tell body language, looks like they're not having any fun. Jacques and DJ are two polar different, opposite personalities. Jacques, who I had for 5 years, is more reserved. He's quiet. He's methodical. DJ's a great motivator. He's a great person, a great guy, and I just think those players really liked him. But at the end of the day, it's a business, and if you're relying on a coach to motivate you, there's something wrong. There's something definitely wrong. So, it's not coaching. Like for me, it's not coaching. Like, and I do the one point you did say earlier with the culture, and that's why I think it might be time. I don't think it might. I think it is time to probably do a move that's going to send a message to the group that this just isn't acceptable. And you're going to see, I think you're going to see one of the key pieces of the young core, as they call it, get moved.
One of the things I've been obsessed with lately is you're watching these Sens games and, they're not getting blown out on a lot of nights. Like they're in it. And one guy you see just begging, pleading with his voice and with his body every night to wake these guys up is Brady Tkachuk. And it just doesn't feel like they're building a team around him. Matthew Tkachuk, who is very similar, matches the Florida Panthers perfectly. It just doesn't feel like Brady Tkachuk.
But he didn't match the Flames, right? They were quote unquote tired of his antics.
Well, they didn't, we don't want to have to fight because of you. And I just feel the same thing happening in Ottawa. Is there anything to that in your opinion?
You're exactly right. How many times are we going to say that, Dangles?
I'd rather you say that than like, clothes don't fit.
Well, think about your point. Think about your point there. Yeah. What are the Florida Panthers? The Florida Panthers are Matthew Tkachuk. Like, how hard is Sam Bennett to play against? Remember the playoffs last year, guys?
Brutal.
I can't forget.
He was an animal. Like, and then you look at, I know Cousins, everybody hates him, but he's hard to play against. Barkov's Barkov's arguably the best two-way centerman. You hear this term all the time, right? 200-foot player.
Yep.
The Florida Panthers are filled with 200-foot players, and they're also filled with guys that you said, like a Brady Tkachuk, like a Matthew Tkachuk, that make it hard on the other team's D. So one of the things NHL teams do all the time in pregame meetings, it's actually comical. It's the same thing because everybody thinks teams strategize. This is what teams say before every game. We got to make it hard on the other team's D. That's the game plan today. We got to make it hard on the other team's D. Well, how many guys on the Ottawa Senators roster, besides Brady Tkachuk, make it hard on the other team's D? Pretty hard to find some, right?
Yeah.
Like it's...
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of the Leafs in the playoffs certain years. It's like you just kind of roll them, right? Like they're not physical.
Like probably like their next physical guy is Ridley Gregg. Like that plays in the top 9. They have a kid, Parker Kelly, that's playing really well right now, but he's on the 4th line. But when you play a team of guys that just don't play the same style, like that's the thing. Ottawa doesn't have an identity right now. The identity used to be Brady Tkachuk, hard to play against. We're gonna make it tough for you guys. And now when you play the Ottawa Senators, it's just what is it? And that's an issue right now. That why I think they probably need to make a move. They need to find an identity, and they need to find it fast.
I wondered, Jason, when you look at what the Senators' identity has been in the past, what should the identity be? Like, should they be the Brady Tkachuks? Like kind of like the Florida Panthers or the Matthew Tkachuks? Are they a little bit more of the finesse team that the finesse teams that we saw with Yashin and Alfredsson, and you were on those teams, and You're right up there with them. But I mean, like, you know, it's like and then later on, Spezza, Heatley, those teams were really sort of finesse driven with some toughness, Chris Neal and that. What should the Ottawa Senators be shooting for when they make this move, whatever this move is?
I think to be a faster team, because I think right now they're too slow.
Okay.
A faster team that's hard to play against and that's able to play a 200-foot game. And those things right now, they're missing all three of those elements. And that's really why, when you look at good teams around the league, they play fast, they're hard to play against, and they don't cheat. That's basically what a 200-foot player is. A 200-foot player doesn't cheat the game. And you look at Ottawa, a lot of guys were getting points before because they're cheating. Like when you're cheating offensively all the time, and you guys have seen it in Toronto when some of the things aren't going well, guys cheat. And you can get away with it in the NHL during the regular season sometimes, but once playoff comes, and Ottawa still has to get there, the teams that cheat will never have success. So that's what they need to get to, just a team that doesn't cheat. Listen, it's hard to find Brady Tkachuk's. Like you're never going to get a team of Brady Tkachuk's.
Yeah.
Matthew Tkachuk's or a team of Austin Matthews, or everybody can score whatever he's going to get, 60, 70 goals this year. It's just, but you can be a responsible 200-foot player. You just have to buy in and sacrifice a little offense, right? That's what it takes.
So you got to shake this team up. You got to send a message. Who's the player? Like, in your opinion, what, you know, it doesn't necessarily makes them better right away, but it grabs the team by the collar and says, we are not screwing around.
Yeah. Well, I guess you got to start. I always start this way, Steve. Who am I not trading? I'm not trading Jake Sanderson.
Okay.
I know Tim Stützle's taking a lot of heat right now, but I'm not going to trade Tim Stützle. He's a 2002 young player. Those guys don't grow on trees, and I'm not trading Brady Tkachuk.
Okay.
After that, I think you take your pick. I would have to be blown away to trade Claude Giroux, because I think he's such an important player. He's not part of the young core, but man, he's, of all the players, guys, he's been the best Ottawa Senator this year. He's been really good. But so then you look at the next guys. You look at, maybe it's a Josh Norris, maybe it's a Thomas Chabot, maybe it's one of those guys. I think it's going to depend on what the other team is going to give you. But if you're just going to trade a guy on your fourth line or your third line, it's not going to do anything. It's going to have to be one of those guys that's an important piece right now.
Because the names we've brought up have sort of been just picking around the edges, Tarasenko and Kubalik.
Well, he's getting traded no matter what. Yeah. Tarasenko's getting traded no matter what. Okay. Kubalik's going, like, if they can find somebody to take him. Brandstrom will probably be traded at the deadline as well, but you're not, those are expected moves. It's the one where you're like I can remember, guys, I'll take you back to when I was in Anaheim. We were terrible. Like, we were so bad. And then we traded for Timo Solani. and listen, we traded everybody. And here's the other thing. Everybody says you can't trade young guys. You can't trade franchise potential guys. We traded Chad Kilger and Oleg Tverdovsky, two guys that were top 5 picks overall for Teemu. But when Teemu came, our team just took off. We didn't make the playoffs. We went right up to the last game of the regular season. We had to end up tying for the last spot. Didn't get in, but it just kind of changed our whole moxie and our whole aura of how we thought about ourselves as a team. And it took us from here up to there. But sometimes you got to do brash things, guys? And when you do, and you have the balls to do it, it sends a message to the team.
Oh yeah.
Do you know Steve Staios?
I do, actually. Yeah, I played a lot against Steve. We were the same era. Like, we're not buddies or anything, but we know each other. Good person, smart guy.
Is he brash?
Well, we'll soon see, won't we?
Okay.
We'll soon see.
All right, that's fair. Now, listen, you had some really great years with those Senators teams. And I wanted to ask you, because I think it's been so long, right, since that 2017 run that was so special, right? It really was the Erik Karlsson, Mike Hoffman, Super Bowl pass. What's it like to win in Ottawa? And the follow-up to that is, what's it like, or what was your favorite moment in your career in Ottawa? Like, what's the moment that stands out to you? Because there needs to be, as much as we're Leaf fans, like, I don't get any pleasure out of the Ottawa Senators being bad. I want them to be good so the Leafs can beat them when they're good. Even though the Ottawa Senators still beat the Leafs right now. They always play their best game against the Leafs.
Yeah.
What was your time like there when they were winning, and what's your favorite particular moment?
Okay, well, it's easy. I'll tell you guys. I'll tell you guys a couple things. First thing I'll tell you is I almost became a Toronto Maple Leaf.
What?
Almost. I thought I was going to become a Toronto Maple Leaf. I was a free agent after my 5th year in Ottawa, and my agent at the time was Pat Morris. And Pat called me, and he says, Toronto's coming to the table with a 4-year deal. He goes, I forget what the dollar. I'm like, perfect. I'd love it. I go, my mom's not going to be happy because she hated the Leafs, but I'd love to do it. So I don't know if you guys remember, later in that day, they signed Alexander McGillney. Then Pat calls me back. He's like, yeah, they're out of money. You're not going to Toronto anymore. That's my almost. I ended up signing I ended up going to Anaheim instead because Toronto. That's what happens on UFA day. There's all the dominoes fall, and unfortunately they went that way. But easy for me. Favorite moment as an Ottawa Senator. I'm from Ottawa, guys. And I was on that team that made the playoffs for the first time ever. It was unreal. Wow. We had played the Buffalo Sabres. Back then it was an 80-game schedule. It took 80 games, and we had to beat Dominic Hasek in game 80 to get in.
Wow.
We beat them 1-0. Hasek was unbelievable, guys. I told this story yesterday on our pod. We found out after that Hasek was out the night before too. One of our players, a Czech guy, Frank Musel, took him out. They went drinking, and Frankie came into the pregame skate. He goes, don't worry, boys. I took Hasek out last night. He ain't playing tonight. We go out for warm-up. Fucking Hasek's dressed. I'm like, what the hell, Frankie?
Only allowed one goal, almost seals it.
He was hungover, and friggin' it took us till Steve Duchesne scored a goal late in the game. Wow. But I'll never forget it. The noise in that building, guys, in Ottawa, it was electric. It was unbelievable. That's by far my favorite moment. Unfortunately, playoffs never went that well for me. I did make the playoffs all 5 of my years in Ottawa, but I think the Leafs took us down a couple times. And those weren't fun days. But easily for me, guys, that was my most exciting time. That first time was just very special.
Yeah, it kind of reminds us of like when the Leafs missed the playoffs for almost 10 years in a row and Connor Brown scored that goal. Like, and it was like, oh, we're going. This is great. And Jason, listen, we really appreciate you making time, and I hope this isn't the last time. We'd love to have you back. For anybody that wants to know, what podcast can they find you on?
They can find me. It's on all platforms. It's called Coming in Hot. It's myself, Bobby Ryan, Brent Wallace, the three of us.
I'm sorry, you mean local podcaster Brent Wallace?
Local podcaster, yeah, he changed his Twitter handle. Local podcaster. Hey, it's the same, guys. It's like we have a lot of fun. We talk Sens most of the time, but it's we're usually on Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, all platforms. And I got to say, podcasting, guys, like I said earlier, I think it's the future. I really loved it. I've enjoyed it. It's just a much more looser, relaxed, and freer way to get your point across. It's been fantastic.
Beautiful. Well, Jason, thanks so much for joining us, and maybe around trade deadline we'll have you back, talk a little bit about Senators trade deadline moves and
that Tarasenko trade that's coming down.
Yeah. I don't know what they're going to get for him. Anyway,
miss you, Yorkie.
Thanks, Yorkie.
Yeah. Anytime, fellas.
The Presser. SDP. The Steve Dangle Press Conference.
All right. First, fun Matt Murray trivia before we get to Adam Wilde has a Rick Westhead thing, and then we got to talk about the reality show Farmer Wants a Wife.
Which Matt Murray?
Exactly. So Mike Nitrous writes on our Discord, concluding the Stars Wild game tonight, Matt Murray of Dallas accomplished his first career shutout in only his 4th NHL game, which ties the amount of shutouts Matt Murray accumulated for the 22-23 season. Got to jab a bit. He wasn't that good. How many games did it take Matt Murray, Toronto, to receive his first NHL shutout, and what year?
Oh, okay. So playoff shutout would not count.
Like, is this Matt Murray Was he with the Penguins or was he with the Leafs? Like, are we talking about the start of his career?
We're talking about his first career shutout.
First career shutout.
Yes.
Okay.
Regular season and playoffs.
Okay.
Yeah. Regular season and playoffs.
No guarantees he got a shutout on those playoff runs either.
No. And Jesse's being all cheeky. No, I'm going to say it was his first playoff game with Pittsburgh.
Adam, what's your guess?
My guess is it's going to be game, because it was Marc-Andre Fleury until midway through the first round, wasn't it?
I can't remember.
Fleury started as
he was the starter.
Yeah.
So I'm going to guess it was like 7 games in, and we're talking round 2 or round 3. I don't even remember who they played on the way, to be honest.
His 69th game.
Adam was getting very close.
Oh,
it was a couple games into the playoffs, 13 to be exact, against the New York Rangers.
Wow. So that would have been the conference final.
Yeah, that would have been the conference finals there. Shutout. First career shutout comes in the conference finals against the Rangers.
You can see where the hype came from, eh?
Yeah. That was April 21st, 2016.
The only goalie I can think of in NHL history that came in the same way Matt Murray did is Tony Esposito. Because Tony Esposito was like a Montreal Canadian for 3 seconds, and then he went to Chicago. But he wasn't he like, or Patrick Waugh did too, right? Where you like come in and you're spectacular in the playoffs.
Yes. Cam Ward,
who had rode one good playoff for like 10 years.
Dude, Martin Gerber was the goalie for, I think, the first 2 games of Carolina's series with Montreal. Montreal was up 2-0. Carolina comes back, wins the series and the cup with Cam Ward in net.
Wow.
And my favorite goalie of all time, Jordan Binnington.
True.
Played 32 regular season games, saved the St. Louis Blues season, and then rides that to the Stanley Cup.
Right. Yeah, no, Tony Esposito, not quite. He played 8 games for the Chicago Blackhawks in the playoffs. There's a lot of games in the playoffs back then in 1969.
Yes.
Like that could, but you're definitely in the Stanley Cup final, aren't you?
Boy, we're really in the thick of it now. You know what? It took the Leafs a long time to get to game 8.
What do you guys think of this? Rick Westhead tweeted this. The NHL Players Association and NHL players Kyle Palmieri and Scott Wilson were among plaintiffs who sued the city of Pittsburgh.
What?
They started this lawsuit in 2019. Can you guess why the NHLPA, Kyle Palmieri, Scott Wilson, and others sued the city of Pittsburgh?
I'm going to say something stupid like parking tickets.
Not parking tickets. Jesse.
Something regarding like facilities being kept up to date.
No, it's over taxes. What Pittsburgh called a jock tax.
What?
That only Pittsburgh did this, but they would tax non-resident sports stars or sports players. The plaintiffs argued that in 2005, the city unfairly levied a 3% earned income tax on visiting pro athletes while taxing all other residents a 1% income tax. Because when you're a pro athlete, you get taxed on where you play. So if you're playing in Pennsylvania, specifically Pittsburgh, you're subject to their taxes, even if it's 1 game a year. So that's why athlete taxes are so complicated. Pirates, Steelers, and Penguins players have also been charged the tax if they lived outside of the city limits. So if you were a Steeler, a Pirate, or a Penguin, and you lived within the Pittsburgh metropolitan area, you were not taxed this. But if you lived outside of it, like north of Allegheny County, and it was outside of whatever, then you are taxed at 3%.
They want you to live there.
After a court ruled the jock tax was unconstitutional, the city appealed, and an appeals court today ruled in favor of the players. And this also includes players' unions for the NFL and the MLB. So all players since 2005 who have been taxed are now entitled to a refund.
19 years.
What a mess that's going
to be. No.
Isn't that nuts?
Oh, that's a nightmare.
That's a nightmare.
That's actually a really huge deal. Holy shit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Kyle Palmieri.
Yeah.
Weird. Scott Wilson played there. Palmieri was never a Pen.
No, he was a visiting player that they were taxing him.
What?
And he's like, yo, that's not cool.
That's good on Rick. That's actually a massive deal. Dude,
it's a crazy story.
19 years of taxes owed to millionaires.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
With agents.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah, there's agent fees that need to be paid.
Agents and dude,
what a mess.
The NHL, the MLB, the NFL. I have an expensive car. I have a big house. I got this payment, that payment, that payment. Oh, wow. That's really bad.
I was just checking, but most states in the U.S. currently have a jock tax.
They do.
Yeah.
Okay.
The only states without jock taxes are Florida, Texas, Washington State, and Washington, D.C.
Now, that's a state.
Yes.
Cities doing it.
Yes, cities
it's
are a little
unconstitutional according to the courts.
Yeah, but I remember when California was like the first state to do it. I think it was a big deal when they did it way back when, and then now most states have it. So that's why athletes love Florida. It's just fucking haven for taxes.
I think from what I've heard, Florida's pretty good to rich people.
Yeah.
Generally speaking. Anyway, yeah, I just thought you guys, it's a weird aside for the press conference, but I thought, how weird is that?
That is a fascinating story.
Yeah.
I am very interested to see how that plays out. Good luck, Pittsburgh.
No kidding.
I think you're fucked.
Yep.
This is from Wham 876543.
Oh.
They write, I think you guys talked about this show a while back. Well, season 2 is airing on Fox in the US, so it's on over-the-air TV. It's only 4 guys. Just for laughs, a dive into their bios would be fun. So what this Discord user is talking about is a show called Farmer Wants a Wife. And they had season 1, and now they have season 2 of Farmer Wants a Wife.
Farmers don't have wives.
Yeah, so
they have wives.
The 4 contestants on Farmer Wants a Wife are Ty. Yeah, get on your glasses, Steve. You gotta take a look at Ty.
Ty looks like Garth Brooks.
Yeah, they all look like Garth Brooks.
Oh, okay.
It's Farmer Wants a Wife, Adam.
Yeah, you're right.
That dude has a smile you can see from space.
Yeah.
He looks like a jacked version of Buster Scruggs.
Ty Farrell is 42.
Mm-hmm.
His hometown is Sikeston, Missouri. I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm sorry.
Or is that Montana? Is M.O. Montana?
No, M.O. is Missouri.
Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah, right.
Okay.
Missouri? Yeah.
Thumbs up. Knowing the states, it's Sikeston. I think it's Sikeston, but
Sikeston?
I'm going to say Sikeston.
His occupation, team roper.
Okay.
Yeah.
Type of farm, 50-acre farm with horses and roping cattle. Meet Ty. Ty is a 42-year-old divorced dad of a 12-year-old daughter. He's had a rope in his hand since he was a kid, and he hasn't been without it since. He can't think of a better life for himself, but the one missing piece has been a special person to continue his life's journey with.
Okay. Wow.
I wonder how many of these guys, hometown, Sikeston, Missouri, current location, same spot.
So next up, our second contestant is Mitchell. Mitchell Kolinsky, 27. What do you guys think of his look?
27?
Good luck.
That's a pup.
Yeah, he's young.
Yeah, he's a young boy. Young cattle.
Young buck.
Fresh cattle.
Yeah, we had the old bull.
Cattle.
Now we have the young calf.
Old bull. All right, let's learn a little about Mitchell.
No belt buckle. What a bum.
Hometown, Knoxville, Tennessee. Current location, Mount Juliet, Tennessee.
Okay.
First generation farmer. Type of farm, which is very important. New farm
Weed.
with a
I hope.
That'd
be
new
great.
farm with a charming 19th century cabin where he lives with his 3 dogs. His property in the woods is shared with a variety of wildlife, and the openness of the surrounding land welcomes the potential for growth. Meet Mitchell.
For an airport.
Mitchell
Cue the Yellowstone theme. Sorry.
Mitchell grew up in Knoxville with horses in his backyard, spending much of his time outdoors. While both of his parents and his 2 brothers have more traditional white-collar careers, Mitchell fell in love with the beauty and promise of the great outdoors. He knew a life in the heartland was the one for him, so he bought his first farm to pursue his dream of becoming a horse and cattle rancher. He hopes to build a farming legacy with his wife by his side.
I am absolutely fascinated by how the fans of this show react to this guy.
This is the thing I'm so intrigued about with Mitchell. He's not a generational farmer.
No.
He's new farmer money. You know, like he doesn't come from old farmer money. He's a guy who just bought a fucking farm, is like, I'm a farmer now. So does Farming America react to him positively? Or are they like, no, he's a fake farmer?
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa. Knoxville, where he's from, has nearly 200,000 people. City Slicker. City Slicker thinks he can just adopt this life.
Yeah. Saw season 1 of Yellowstone and thinks he can do this now.
Well. You get Paramount Plus, and all of a sudden you think you're a fucking cowboy.
He's also 27. Yeah. He's like, oh yeah, I'm just a young. I worked in tech and I bought a farm and now I'm a farmer. I don't know if he actually worked in tech, but still.
Although, to be able to buy a farm, they're not cheap.
Where did he get this money to buy a farm?
Not like they're giving away homesteads anymore.
You're acting like it's when Mr. Burns and Smithers decided to run the power plant themselves. I'm fascinated by how the target audience of that show reacts to that young man.
2 more. We'll speed through these guys. Brandon, 29, Brandon Rogers. What do you guys think of his look?
That is a country singer ass name.
And what's with the tweed vest thing going on here?
You don't like tweed vest?
I don't know. It's like it seems.
What is?
It seems. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's giving like 1920s farmer core. He's got like the classic pickup truck too.
Yeah,
like the red.
The one thing he did right is he didn't do up the bottom button. You never do up the bottom button, no matter what. So
there he is.
But yeah, it's like. Well, that was a little bit too close to that area there, Jesse. It's kind of
no.
And I think it's just the pattern of the pants.
You're talking about his button.
Also, that dude is wearing like. Can you scroll up to his?
Jesse,
stop doing that. That is an expensive ass hat.
Oh yeah. They all are. They're all wearing expensive clothes. Like cowboy clothes that are designer cowboy clothes, as we saw in Nashville, are not cheap.
Kind?
Designer.
I know somebody who bought a.
I know this someone as well.
$8,000 cowboy hat.
Do I know this person?
No.
Yes,
kind of.
A little.
$8,000?
I'll tell you after.
$1,000?
Yeah.
Now, when they bought it, they didn't know.
But they went through with the purchase.
Yeah, like put the credit card away then, man.
Just say no.
This person clearly has some money. Wow.
It
all
is
right.
the nicest cowboy hat I've ever seen. Yep. However.
So, I assume when we're looking at Brandon, his cowboy hat is rather expensive.
And look at that old ass truck.
Yeah, look at
Classic.
that.
Oh, those are classics. Those are great.
Yeah, right there.
Classic.
So what do we got?
Stop,
Jesse.
He's from the same place. Love it.
He's from Center, Colorado. Second generation potato and barley farmer.
Nice.
1,000 acre farm.
Wow.
Shit. Brandon is our most remote farmer that means he's the best. Living in a small 1 stoplight town surrounded by his farmland. Wow. He grew up on the farm working with his dad. Later in his 20s, he returned to work the farm full-time to continue his family's farming legacy. His business is set up and doing well, and now the missing piece is that one special person to share it with.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
A 1 stoplight town?
Whoa. You have electricity? City slicker. City slicker.
I actually my on one of the branches of my family, they were granted like in the 1860s something like 2 hectares of land, and that's an enormous amount of land.
Sounds like a lot.
And they have a town in Ontario named after them. It's a 1 stoplight town. They have a church.
Kitchener.
Brampton.
No. Like you'd never heard of it. I'm not even going to say it, but it's like
the Bramptons.
It's kind of the Bramptons.
Adam Brampton.
Adam Oshawa.
Mr. and Mrs. Toronto. Yeah.
Adam's relatives.
Of course, back then you pronounced the second T.
Yes.
Toronto.
This is insane.
Yeah, and so those exist. They exist in Toronto or in Ontario as well. Obviously, like most of Ontario there's nobody.
Yeah.
And the thing is, since then, obviously the land's been parceled out and sold over the generations or whatever. But that they still have 1 corner of their town's 1 stoplight intersection. And it's like, it's crazy. And actually a couple of my cousins got married in their chapel that was built 100 and something years ago, and they refurbished it just to get married in it. It's crazy stuff.
Wow.
Yeah. So wild.
So to this day, it's still a 1 stoplight town.
It sure is. There's 3 houses.
So wait, was that
in the town?
3 houses in the town, 1 chapel that nobody used until they got married there.
I guess all the neighbors got along.
Yeah, I don't think you have a choice. You're relying on
No matter if a storm comes through, like, where are you going?
Oh yeah, and that's the thing is that like you can get stuck out there.
That's what I always think about with these remote places is like, okay, something happens, you're just inside and you got to prepare for that.
Yeah.
Because you can't drive the 20 kilometers to the grocery store.
You can if you've got like a big tractor.
All right.
If you have those tractors are like amazing. It's actually crazy. So like even the old ones, which members of my family have had, like those big old red ones that you see, like those things they're so big and they're so heavy and you reek of gasoline after you use them. But like you see them on the street all the time. Yeah, you can get into town. Most people have generators now.
Wait,
right?
Jesse, what'd you say? Drive? City Slicker Store?
Who's the last one? Isn't there?
I'm
Isn't
sorry.
there
Yeah, we got Nathan. We got to do Nathan. Yeah.
Nathan.
I meant Steve, take my Tesla. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do.
By the way, can you imagine being remote
I don't own a
and
Tesla.
outside of Denver? Like you're in Colorado where it snows like it snows a little bit here. The snow in Colorado is crazy.
He's the weed farmer.
Yes.
All right. Nathan is 23. You thought the other guy was young.
He's got a mature face.
He does. What do we think about his face? First things first.
It is handsome.
Yeah.
That is a
Yeah, he's a handsome guy. That's a country singer.
perfect amount of scruff.
Nice Henley top,
He looks like
pattern belt.
This is for a very niche audience, but he looks like an AI generated combination of Arthur Morgan and Micah Bell.
Are those friendship bracelets?
They
Maddie
could.
says, "Are those friendship bracelets?" Jesse, zoom in. Please be sure to not go towards.
Maddie's right. They are
No,
friendly.
sorry.
Jesse.
You can see
It's
the
a pattern of the pants.
That's the only angle I can get.
I think this guy's a Swiftie. I think he's the
No,
No,
look at
I think
Swifty.
he's got daughters. I think he's got daughters. That's my guess.
All right.
And they made it for him, and he wears them.
I'm trying. I can't make out what the friendship bracelet.
I think he might bite his nails.
I don't.
Those are too short.
You think he bites his nail?
I think he might bite
You
his
can't
nails.
always tell.
I'm a
can't you?
recovering nail biter. He's from the same spot.
He's from
Okay.
Florida.
3 or 4.
So Nathan, Bartow, Florida.
Wow.
4th generation citrus and cattle farmer. Ooh,
Wow.
Florida. That makes sense.
Oh, he has grapefruit cows.
300-acre farm where he resides, and an additional 500 plus acre cattle property.
Wow.
So he has by far the biggest farm out of all these guys, right?
Yep.
If I remember correctly.
Well, no, one guy had 1,000 acres. I think.
Oh, did he?
The Colorado guy.
Oh shit. My
But
bad.
still,
That's a lot.
that's a lot.
You don't need a wife. You need a staff.
Nathan grew up working his family's farm in citrus groves, and at 23 is our youngest farmer. He lost his dad at 12, so he quickly grew up and became the man of the house, helping to support his mom and 3 sisters. He returned to live and work on the farm full-time when he graduated from college and is eager to begin his next chapter, including starting a family with the love of his life.
Now, okay, the mom and 3 sisters, the friendship bracelets make sense, right?
Yeah.
23.
Family?
Well, I mean, literally, where do we think we got "Sow Your Wild Oats" from? Like that is a farmer.
I don't know
That's
that.
that's
Where
a farmer ass
Please
phrase.
explain.
Let's start with what does that mean?
Yeah, it's
That
supposed to
sounds
mean like
knock
get
a
out
bunch
there
of people up.
and make out with some strangers. You know, like that's basically what it means.
Yeah.
Is that what that? Okay.
Yeah.
It's a
Make
farmer term?
out.
I believe it is. Yeah.
Okay.
But you know what? Good for him. If he wants to start a family, he wants to start a family. That's great. I feel like Florida would be interesting. Because like a citrus farm, first off, you're gonna have the best orange juice you've ever had in your life, like ever.
Those lemons.
Oh yeah,
Must be good.
Does he herd Florida cracker cows? Is that the breed?
Wouldn't they? I think cracker cows. What are cracker cows?
What is that?
They're a type of cow in
Are
Red
they?
Dead Redemption.
Oh, I wonder because you know what?
Florida cracker cows.
Oh, maybe they do. I don't know. They should have got specific with the bio.
They should have. I need to know what kind of bovine I'm dealing with. You want to marry someone and you don't tell them the kind of cow?
Oh, it's Longhorns. I'm out.
He's not mature enough. He's not ready for this.
I think 23 on a dating show like this, where it's not like we're on Too Hot to Handle, where they're all fucking and being obnoxious, you know?
Yeah.
Like, that's a little. This is like
Different character.
we're
maybe.
starting a family dating
Yeah.
show. 23 is young to be doing that.
Yeah, and you know what?
I got questions.
He's used to. I'll tell you, 23. I didn't want any responsibilities, but I didn't grow up and have to be the man of the house at 12 or whatever and have to run a farm and
I guess that's the story you tell with young Nathan. It's
Nathan Smothers, baby.
He had to become the man. And now at 23, he's more mature than a normal 23-year-old. And he's trying to start a family.
I'm going to bet the farm, Nathan has the deepest, hottest voice.
Oh, yeah.
Of the four.
He's a good-looking boy.
Oh, yeah.
Don't
deepest,
scroll down,
voice.
Jesse. Okay, there we go. Thank you.
That was nice.
Yeah.
All of these.
Perfect teeth.
But I was about to say.
Citrus teeth right there.
Is the dentist visiting all these small towns and giving them all immaculate smiles?
I know. It's crazy.
Just the best. Okay.
They probably eat so good. All they eat is fucking fresh food.
Yeah.
Dude, the producer of the show, dude, you have one job. This guy, he's 23. What was it? 4th generation?
Yeah.
His family is farming. It is the life. He needs some girl who thinks
I love how passionate you
she
are
wants this because I'm making television, Jesse. You want to make a hit or not? I'm here to make money.
Call ABC.
All right, I'm making a hit. So he needs to find some girl who watched Yellowstone or some shit, and she thinks it'd be cutesy and it'd be fun, and she has no idea what she's getting herself into. Scroll up to the 27-year-old first-generation farmer. To this
Mitchell.
guy, they need to pair him up with some girl who is from a 19-generation farming family who realizes he doesn't have a clue what he's doing. And let the hilarity ensue. That would be the best television.
Wow.
Making hits.
The way you're casting the other part of this, the ones they'll be hopefully marrying one day, that's such a great point that you need the girls who are from the city. You need a New York girl. You need an LA girl.
LA girl in Colorado, baby.
Yeah.
Let's go.
You need obviously the half that's like, I also come from an 18-generation farming family, but you need the other side of the entertainment where it's like she grew up
is allergic to horses.
Yeah.
Yes.
In the middle of California.
Like needs to take her Claritin 24-hour.
One of them gets out of the truck for the first time to meet him, and they're wearing either white boots or pants.
Yes.
And immediately they're like,
well, if you're a producer on that show, you're not doing your job if you're not playing that angle up. You got to put them in heels.
What are you talking about? Boots? The heels.
Yeah.
You need somebody to come out in heels.
Heels for sure.
I made a mistake.
No, it's
sneakers, you know.
This would be a fun show.
We're workshopping.
This
We're
would be
making
a fun
hit.
show.
Season 2, so I guess season 1 went well.
I guess so.
Have any of these guys been in Hallmark movies before?
Probably all of them. You know.
If I was the producer, I'd be going for something like that. Like you got the city girl, and then the country guy.
And they saved the cookie factory. It's great.
Anyway,
That's just in time for Christmas.
By the way,
it for today.
You know the richest person in a one stoplight town? Richest, just guess. What would the richest person in a small town do?
The farm?
Farm is a good answer. But a lot. Here's the thing with farming is a lot of your money is tied up in your assets, right?
They're retired already.
They're not retired. No,
they sell the farming equipment,
right? Again, that's how a lot of farmers get rich. My cousin is a car salesman, and he had a guy come in and buy an Acura NSX cash, and it was like $250,000 because he just sold all his But that is not the right answer.
The vet tech who can also fix a human stomach ulcer.
The vet.
Oh,
the vet is the richest person in those towns.
Everything I am
tens of millions if you're in the right place. Like crazy money.
Because so many animals.
There's so many animals. like it's and they are on the road all the time, driving 50 kilometers one way, 50. It's not an easy job.
You got to do the farm call.
Oh yeah. It's crazy.
One of the best things about the future, where everyone has a camera and TikTok exists, is there are things I am learning in my 30s that I now see every damn day. You know what one of those things is?
What's that?
Did you know that cows get bloat all the time? And the way to fix it is to poke a hole in the cow.
Wow, I didn't even know what bloat is.
They get crazy gas. To
or like bloated.
To the point where they could die from it. And they literally go up to the cow with like some sort of sharp thing, poke them in the stomach, and you can hear the gas leaving them.
Whoa.
Like put like a little attachment in.
Like a balloon.
To make it come out faster. You can even, as it's coming out of them, I've seen it, light the gas coming out of the cow on fire.
Damn.
To help it burn off faster.
Wow.
Dude, it's crazy. I didn't know about this until my 30s. See it every day.
I'm obsessed with the hooving videos, like where they
I hate those friggin'
The
videos.
horses?
yeah,
Stuff?
yeah, or the
cool.
cows. They
The
pull out like
cows.
nails and shit, and they're like, "Here, I'm going to fix this up." Or there's
Those are
like,
cool.
Oh, I hate those videos. No.
why?
Because yuck. I hate them because yuck, and also I feel bad for the cow.
All right, wrap us up, Adam.
All right, we're wrapping it up. I'm pretending that I'm hearing the outro music, but I'm really not. By the way, don't forget Kingston Frontenacs. We're there in like a week and a half. It's happening real soon.
Am I synced up?
You're gonna see Steve skating and doing in arena stuff.
I'm real good.
The best, actually.
I'll beat you in a race.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake.